This is RTP. This is RTP180.
James was born in 1933. As a child, he lived in a world that was at war. And every evening, James and his family would gather around the radio and listen for updates from the front. He was nearly a grown man before there was a TV in his house. And he was over 40 years old when that TV had color. By the time his kids were grown and moving out of the house, they had 5 TVs with hundreds of channels. As a boy, James rarely, if ever, used the telephone. You had to ring an operator and ask for a connection. Then later on, the whole neighborhood had one single line to make a call. By the time he was a married man, they had multiple phones in the house, which was necessary with 3 girls. These phones went from a rotary dial and then touch tone. They went from a corded phone to a cordless phone. By the time James was ready to retire, it seemed like everyone had a phone in their pocket. Now, James is 86 years old. He lives at home alone. Unfortunately, his wife passed away not too long ago. His daughters are all grown and married. Every morning, James wakes up and he reads the newspaper. Now, he realizes he could get this information online. His kids and even his grandkids have told him as much. They've even tried to introduce new technology into his house. First, there was the desktop computer that just took up too much space on his desk. Then there was a laptop that seemed to always have a dead battery. Then there was the tablets they gave him that never seemed to register his touches. And then a phone that was too small. What his family has decided is that James just doesn't like technology. What they've forgotten, though, is that throughout his whole life, James has had to adopt new technology and adapt his life. The key is that each time he had to adapt, there was purpose behind it, the technology wasn't intrusive, and it was something that he could become comfortable with. Eventually, good technology kind of fades into the background. It just becomes a part of everyday life. Now, I'm willing to bet that most of us here know someone like James. It might be your parents or your grandparents, an aunt, an uncle, a friend, a neighbor. I believe that we must consider the Jameses in our life when we're developing new smart technology, when we're enhancing existing technology, when we're creating systems that integrate smart technology together. I believe we can change James's life. For instance, let's think about James's home. What if every light switch in James's house doubled as a motion sensor? So as he moves through his home, the lights come on to a level of his preference, allowing him to move around safely and comfortably. What if there was a sensor in James's bed that tracked his sleep patterns, but also doubled as a trigger that when he wakes up in the middle of the night, a lamp comes on, allowing him to put on his slippers and make it to the bathroom safely? Or perhaps it's connected devices like the wearables. Maybe it's a Fitbit or some other activity tracker, perhaps a blood pressure cuff, a scale that reports data back. All of these devices can combine data into one holistic view of James's health. So when he goes to the doctor's office, he can prove to his care provider that throughout the month since his last visit, he's been doing okay. Moreover, he can prove to his kids and to himself, I'm okay on my own, allowing him to stay independent longer. I believe that we can make James's life simpler through smart technology. I believe that we can keep him healthier. I also believe that it's possible we could even make him happier. Now, this is what we do at K4Connect, but I don't think it should be limited to a single company. I believe that all of us, as we consider the smart technologies that we're creating and that we're enhancing and the systems we're building, we should think about how to make these things purposeful for people that we may have not even considered to be a part of our customer base. People like James, a part of a generation that we've largely forgotten when it comes to technology. So let's make it purposeful. Let's make it so it doesn't intrude on his life. Let's make it so it can be comfortable and fade into the background and just be another part of his life. So I want to challenge all of you to consider how you can apply more heart to your smart technology. Thank you.